This is Larry Connors USA. Larry Connors USA.
Well, as many of you know, earlier this month, Florida Governor Ron Desantis, on April 1, actually, of last year, had issued a statewide stay-at-home at that time, locking down the Sunshine State for 30 days. That was, again, April 1 last year. And, of course, since that time, he's been looking for a way to open up the state, and, in fact, he has. And vaccines have helped, and they began to issue vaccines. And a decision was made to use the Publix grocery stores as a way to reach a lot of the folks because they often would go to the grocery store. Why not give them a vaccine at that location? And here came the claim that the Publix institution, the company, was selected because it gave money to a political action group on behalf of Governor Ron DeSantis. And right behind them came CBS 60 Minutes, going after the governor, claiming basically that he sold out. And a lot of people that needed the vaccine didn't get it because the governor was playing politics. They ignored so many facts of the story that would have said otherwise. And joining us now, Christopher Bedford, a senior editor, I should say, for the Federalist, and he did an excellent piece about this DeSantis story. Welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, well, thanks for having me back.
You bet, always. We appreciate having you. Your piece, that folks, you can look it up yourself. It's in the Federalist. The piece was talking about that 60 Minutes interview, and one of the subheadlines says, what the story really says is that both CBS and 60 Minutes are willing to publish sloppy hit pieces on those who defy their narratives, no longer think it's necessary to even justify this propaganda. I'd like to hear your additional thoughts. Go ahead.
But DeSantis derangement syndrome is the new thing hitting the media. They're going absolutely wild, trying to hit him over and over again. Now, I got some family down in Florida, so I've been fortunate enough to be able to visit a few times during this pandemic from here in Washington, D.C., which is a fortified city where everyone wears masks outside. It's an open state. It's wonderful. I mean, some of the elderly people there who are at risk and some of the parents of very young children who just don't know, you'll see them wearing masks. Other than that, once you get off the airplane, you might wear a mask for maybe a few hours before you realize that, holy smokes, it's like 2019 here. That's made him target number one for the press. And they think that they know that he's a possible candidate for the president of the United States on the GOP ticket, and he would do very well against Kamala Harris. So this is something that have been trying to take him down. Just the other day, earlier today, Joy Reid, so that it seemed like the scandal, the allegations around Congressman Matt Gaetz were getting closer to DeSantis. They're saying things without any evidence. And if you look at this public story, you have to be someone who doesn't know anything about Florida to find it remotely believable, because Publix is the most common, most accessible, most popular grocery store chain around there. They gave $100,000 in support of Republicans. They gave $100,000 in support of Democrats.
Oh, wait. Chris, I got to stop. Please don't give the other side. We don't want to have a balanced report here. Go ahead. They gave $100,000 to both. Go ahead.
So when you have left-wing journalists who are typically very much in the pocket for Democrats, like Chris Cillizza over at CNN, who said that they don't have any facts to back this up. They don't provide the context. You can't draw conclusions. You have Eric Wemple over at the Washington Post, who's not as bad as Chris Cillizza, saying this is just a plume floating in a sea of innuendo. It makes absolutely no sense. Oliver Darcy at CNN attacked them. And then you've got some people over at Poynter Institute, Tom Jones, who spent 30 years reporting in Florida and Minnesota. And he's saying, look, this is really badly done. And, of course, what the left-wing press was most angry about, the biggest crime was that such sloppy hit jobs play into the hands of Republicans. They were saying, oh, this is going to make people think that we're unfairly targeting them. Of course you are.
Of course
That's
they
exactly
are.
What it's going to make people think.
The Project Veritas tapes that have been released show exactly what CNN was doing, that they admitted, at least the, quote, tech director, he's not making the decisions, but he's part of it, and he's given the inside story, basically. They were always going to what they could to defeat Trump by putting the COVID numbers up all the time, deaths. And you also have in Florida a Democrat mayor who defended DeSantis, said that's not at all what happened. They ignored everything that would have brought balance to the story.
the Democrats were aghast at this because at the end of the day, when you look at Michigan or Washington, D.C. or California or New York, you look at places that have been very badly mismanaged. The economies have been shattered. The people are emotionally broken. A lot of people. It's been an unbelievable amount of effects on people's minds here and the level of fear that they have and distrust that they have. And at the same time, our numbers have not gotten better. People are still getting sick, even if they're not remotely dying at the level that people originally said that they would. You go to Florida, that's not the case. You go to Texas, that's not the case. And they can't admit that their religion around Dr. Fauci is wrong. And it drives them mad, and they're trying to do anything they can to do it.
To that extent, I mean, they all talked about Daytona spring break. Florida should be in the midst of a major crisis, a spike, a mass spreading, and so forth. There's a super spreader event, as was a Rangers baseball game in Texas. And if there's going to be a super spreader event, it's actually with the illegals coming across because they're not really being checked, and if they are, released in the country anyway. CBS 60 Minutes, though. 60 Minutes, yes, it's always had that basic premise that it's going to be solid journalism and not swayed by politics. They just gutted the operation.
And it's so sad to see because a lot of these outlets, I mean, they've been liberal-leaning. The press has been going left for 60 years or so, maybe since the New Deal with FDR, by and large. But they have really betrayed even any ounce of objectivity. It's no longer an argument at Thanksgiving tables if the media is liberal. People agree with that. They just say whether or not it's right or wrong for them to take those positions. In a lot of the press, they've decided that it's important for them. They're on the right side of history. They're fighting against the Third Reich. They're standing up. Context and justice, situational justice, whatever ideas they have about it, are more important than actually putting forth facts. I mean, remember the 60 Minutes episode with President Donald Trump when they tried to interview him and set him up. Unfortunately, They had filmed it themselves, were able to release the whole interview, and it showed what a hack job it was. It's very sad.
And to that extent, there's just been an update that crossed a few minutes ago that the U.S. intel agency is walking back the Russian bounty claim. The Democrats and the leftist media were using that to attack Trump. It never existed, nor did, of course, the Russian collusion, but they were finding everything they could at that point, and they'll continue. And they want to know why they're not trusted. What do you tell them, Chris Bedford?
The amount of wars that they tried to drive us into just because they didn't like Donald Trump were absolutely unbelievable. And the Republicans who patsy to this, whether it's Liz Cheney or Senator Ben Sasse, who said, yes, this is right. Ben Sasse said we need to have Russians and Taliban in body bags over this. Well, it wasn't true. Every single person in the Pentagon denied it. Now, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Reporters should keep on digging. But instead what they did was they declared it having happened because it fit into their narrative that they wanted. The only chips we have, the only currency the press has is your trust, the reader's trust, to take time to listen to your radio program or to read the Federalist because they trust what we're saying. And if we betray that, then we've betrayed everything that we're doing. There's no reason to be in this career.
I agree fully. And my career, most of the audience knows, I spent 50-plus years a TV news anchor, and I mean on the solid side of news. Many folks never knew my political views, nor should they as a news anchor. And if they chose, they often believed that I must be liberal because I was in the media. And now this program, I can speak my mind, but I still want to have a balance. I try to, and I always, like you, I quote sources so they can check it out. But CBS 60 Minutes, when they decided to do a hit job, and then they follow it up the following week, and their response to all the claims and concerns about was just read letters, not admit, yeah, we did not talk to that person, we did not see. In other words, in their opinion, if we read the letters of complaint, then we brought some balance.
And the only letter that they read out loud was from a gentleman, Nick Mayorkas, from Vero Beach, Florida. And they said that he was a retired newsman, or at least strongly insinuated that, as if it added some credit to what he said. Now, they spelled his name wrong, so it took me about a day to find him.
Oh, yeah?
But once I did find him, I ended up calling him up yesterday. He was not pleased about that, didn't want to speak. He's retired now.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any mention of any media or his byline outside of his brother's obituary, rest in peace, in LexisNexis. And the only thing I found remotely connecting him to any kind of media was something on the old high school alumni website of his when he graduated in '64, and they'd kept it up. They put up this website after that said he worked at CBS. I went through the CBS transcripts of 50 years of CBS and didn't find a single mention of his name or in LexisNexis. It makes me wonder, what exactly is this newsman that you cited as if we're all going to be afraid of that when you've got right here who I just listed 4 public left-wing newsmen who criticize you with their names attached? Why don't you address those criticisms?
Yeah, and that was the other thing. If he's a news, why does he have to be in shadow? What's he fearful of if he's speaking the truth? Well, as we wrap this up, again, I want to thank you very much for your article because, and I encourage folks to go to the Federalist, look it up. It's Christopher Bedford. He's a senior editor with the Federalist, and how the 60 Minutes hit job just went ballistic and all puff, no facts. I want to thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks very much. Have a great weekend.
You too. We'll do it again. Christopher Bedford. Yeah, I mean, if the guy, as he said, he traced them down, and there's very little mention of anything. A newsman, and you're going to be in shadow? If you're speaking the truth, why do you have to hide out in the shadow? If you're going to go back to those kinds of claims, I can claim I'm president. I was elected president. You're not aware of that. In the 2nd grade, I was elected president of the library club. I was president. Coming up, well, you got to wait to hear this one.